expert at the end of her presentation. Today, we are honored to host an expert on this topic. Fran Mawusi is Director of Multicultural Recruitment and Mentoring at Eastern University. On behalf of the Navigate 2020 event sponsor, GoToCollege Fairs, I would like to extend a warm welcome to our panelists and thank her so much again for taking the time to present on this important topic. Let's begin.
Hello, I am so excited to be here with you all today. And so we're going to get started. I will introduce myself again. My name is Fran Mawusi, and I am Director of Multicultural Recruitment and Mentoring at Eastern University. I'm excited because I love what I do. And so you will probably figure that out very soon. And I've been doing this for about 20 years, almost 20 years, not quite, but almost 20 years. And so it's been a wonderful ride. I enjoy supporting students, all students, but in particular, multicultural students, and it probably has something to do with my journey to college. I also like to cheer them on. So you might have heard my title of Director of Multicultural Recruitment and Mentoring, but I will say that that's a long title for a very short word, cheerleader, and that's pretty much what I am. So today we're going to share with you how you will navigate through the first year of college as a multicultural student. Not everybody's experience is going to be the same. But we're going to hopefully share some nuggets with you that I believe will be helpful as you navigate that first year. I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry. So let's see if we can go back. Here we go. There we go. So the American Center for Progress has said that diversity on campus benefits all students. Engaging and learning with people from a variety of backgrounds encourages collaboration and fosters innovation, thereby benefiting all students. Research shows that the overall academic and social effects increased racial diversity on campus are likely to be positive, ranging from higher level of academic achievement to the improvement of near and long-term intergroup relations. And that was posted by the American Center for Progress. And what I gained from that is that without diversity, we don't get the full effect of the campus community. And students could come from a lot of different backgrounds, and they add a lot to a community. And I've actually seen that at the university where I am now, Eastern. And without that, maybe you don't get, again, the full effect of diversity in the campus community. So I decided that I would talk with a couple of my colleagues when I decided that we should do this presentation today. And when I thought about a few of them, I thought that they've been in the business long enough. They're also cheerleaders. And they have a heart for students, multicultural students in particular. And so I spoke with Danielle Suber of York College, and Danielle said that in her advice to you, that you should find out about the resources that are available for multicultural students. Find out about the resources, and we're definitely going to go through that today. And Maria Cabrera of Delaware Valley University, she says that you should seek a mentor on campus, kind of like a go-to person. So you want to find a person or persons on the campus that you can confide in, that you'll be able to share, and that you trust with them advising you on some things that you may experience in college that may be pretty personal, but at the same time, it might be just basic information about policy and procedure at the university. So Maria is encouraging you to seek a mentor on campus. And David Stewart of Elizabethtown College, he says, and David's really funny. David said, you should find a person in the financial aid office student affairs and multicultural affairs, and introduce yourself. And I think that that's important as well. I think that when you find a person in each department, even if they're not the one that will be able to help you with your particular need, they will be able to put you in touch with someone who will. And it's probably going to be someone that you might feel more comfortable with for whatever reason, and that you've kind of connected with, or maybe your parents connected with during the admissions process, but you found in them to be a confidant. And so you decide, well, I'm going to go over and speak with Miss Brown in financial aid because I'm going to tell her what's going on. She'll be able to advise me. And student affairs, the same. And then multicultural affairs, that person is actually there just for that reason, to be an advisor, to be a sounding board, to be an encourager. So they share this information with me to share with you, and I hope that it's helpful. And we'll kind of refer to it throughout the presentation. If you don't remember anything that I say today, I want you to take this slide to heart, because it's kind of like the key to being successful in college. One has to learn to advocate for oneself. So you have to advocate for yourself. What does that mean, to advocate for yourself? Being your own advocate means that you ask for what you need while respecting the needs of others. For example, if you are at a store and a clerk ignores you, ask in a polite way to be served. Self-advocacy is asking for what you need in a direct, respectful manner. And that's from Pacer Center. And so when you think about advocating for yourself, maybe you already know how to do that. Maybe you're an expert at it. You don't ever have to be concerned with this part of getting what you need. But some people are not used to it. A lot of students come to college and they're so used to their parents doing these things for them that they don't know how to do self-advocacy. But it's very important. It's not only important in your first year as you navigate that, but it's important as you continue on. You'll have to advocate for yourself when it comes to your professors and getting work done. You'll have to advocate when it comes to others on campus. If you're working with your resident director in the residence halls, the dormitories, and you may have to advocate for yourself just in general as a person who is multicultural. You may be in a classroom where you're the only person who is a minority. And when a question comes up, everybody might look at you in the class and expect you to answer for all of the people that you represent. And there's no way that you can do that. But you might have to say, well, I can speak for myself. I might not be able to speak for the entire, in my case, multicultural community of African Americans, but I can tell you what I think. I can tell you how I feel. And then you need to allow others to advocate for you. An advocate is a person who speaks, writes, or acts in defense of another person. Types of advocates: mentors, again, multicultural student advisors. We'll keep talking about that. Faculty and staff members. You will be surprised the people that you will meet along the way. You know, sometimes you might seem like there's going to be a divide between you, that college professor, and you. But I see a lot of our professors sitting down and actually having coffee and hanging out with students in like Jam and Java, which is one of our little eateries on campus. It might be a coach. It might be a chaplain. We're a Christian university, so we have a chaplain. If you need to, you might find an advocate in that person. And then there are peer counselors. We have a mentoring program that I oversee, and we have the upperclassmen who mentor freshmen for about one semester. But what happens is they usually want to go through the entire year, and you know, there are stories about weddings where you're still calling someone your mentee. Oh, my mentee is in my wedding, or my mentor is in my wedding. And so those relationships continue. So when you have someone to advocate for you, that means you might have to make your needs known to them as well. So you can't be shy. And you are going to have to allow them to know some things about you that maybe you're not that proud about. Maybe you're not trying as hard as you can in a class. And at this point, you know, you're failing. And you might need that advocate to work with you to help you with time management or whatever else you might need at that time. So just know that having someone to advocate for you is going to be very helpful in your time in college, because there'll probably come a day when you'll have to advocate for someone yourself. So you might notice that I talk about mentoring a lot. It's huge for me. I think that mentoring helps each and every student to gain something from someone who is willing to give. So let's talk about resources for multicultural students. I want you to tweet this or send it out on Instagram or Facebook, but I want you to remember it most of all. No matter what you might need, there's someone on campus ready and able to help. That could come in the form, again, of an advocate. It could be someone who is your roommate, who might be a junior and you're a freshman. No matter what you might need, there's someone on campus ready and able to help. What's important is that you ask for the help. So we're talking about resources. There is a multicultural student advising center on most campuses, or a person who does the work. There's also a writing center. And you might say, well, these are general areas or resources. Yes, they are. But if the truth is told, a lot of multicultural students feel, I'm going to say in slang, some type of way, asking for help, going to the writing center, going to the college success advising office, where you could create a plan for success with someone who will hold you to it. You might feel some type of way about going to a counseling service, where, you know, a lot of students come into college and they may have had some areas that were rather traumatic for them before coming, or maybe there's some family dynamic that they've had to deal with. And when they get to college, they have all this freedom, you know, and with that comes responsibility, but they have all this freedom, but also that thing is still there because you brought it to college with you. You didn't leave it home. That area of concern, whatever your concern was, you're bringing it to college with you. And then you have the stress of college, and then you're getting to know new people, and you're trying to put your best foot forward, and you're a multicultural student, and you may have some challenges there. You may need counseling services. It doesn't mean that you're mentally ill. It means that you might just have and need some help adjusting. And the counseling services are there for you. Tutoring, please. When you get to campus, just sign up. You might not think you need it, and maybe you don't. But just in case you do, you'll already be there. Career services. You can start talking about what it is that you want to do in your freshman year. Financial aid advisor, we talked about that. People are there to help you as well. Academic advisors, they'll be the ones to help you with registering for classes and making sure your classes are lining up with your goals. And then library. You might find that librarian who will give you shortcuts on how to get around the library so that you can get that paper done sooner than later. And then there's dining services. You're like, well, why do I need this? Why is that a resource? Because maybe you have some restrictions on your diet and you need to make that known. Recreational services, go to the gym, work out. It's a good balance to all the stress that you'll have in your first year of college. It'll also give you an opportunity to just depress, right? And stay healthy. And then there are health services. A lot of students will say, I don't go to the health center. I'd rather go home to my doctor. I'm going to call my mom and I'm going to wear her out because I have a toothache. When you could just go to the health services center, they'll take care of you. And if they can't, they'll refer you on. And then information technology support. You might have problems with your laptop or other technology. You're going to have to reach out to them to help you. These are just some of the resources, but as you're looking at colleges and visiting, you want to ask about resources. You want to ask about the resources in particular for multicultural students. You want to be able to know that there are offices and sometimes individuals who are there to support you. How about clubs, groups, and organizations? All right, this is my warning, okay? You can't join every single club, and please don't try. You can't get involved in everything in your first year, but there'll be clubs and groups and organizations that will be essential to your success. There'll be opportunities for you to get involved in different activities and student government. I'm just asking that you balance that. But these clubs are there to support students. Students who are multicultural might be interested in the Black Students League, Latinas Unidas, Asian Club, the Caribbean Club. These are just some of the clubs that we have on our campus. And they might go by another name at other colleges, but for the most part, it's going to be a club or group that supports people from the same ethnicity, who may have some of the same experiences, who are international students, who get support from an international advisor, a multicultural student council. You could be a part of that, because then you can look at what happens on campus and maybe decide, we should do something about this, or we should do this differently. And so you're involved in that. And then there's multicultural student advising. Again, we talked about that. And that is the person who is there to help you and support you. We have step teams, spoken word, and then we even have a natural hair club, right? Natural hair, that's me. But students came on campus, and I love this because, you know, students say, okay, I think we should have a club for, you know, natural hair. And usually there's another student who says, you know what, let's get together and let's start that club. Let's get a few dollars from student government after submitting a proposal, and you have a club. Then we have like the missionary kids, because we're a Christian college. And so we have students who are from missionary families, and they're sometimes in the middle. They may look like an American, but they've been in Uganda for years. And so they need support from one another as well. Greek organizations, really big for a lot of people, especially multicultural students. Those are those organizations that you get involved in. You have to maybe do something like pledge. And then once you get through that, those are your friends, your sisters, your brothers for life. And of course, mentoring programs. I'm talking about mentoring programs again. Don't ask me why. It's because I'm really sold on them. But mentoring programs will get you where you need to go. And if I didn't say enough about it, I want to share what Sylvia has to say about a mentor that she found at St. John's University in her first year. She says, my mentor has been incredibly helpful in making sure that I have a sense of belonging on campus, from helping me join clubs to introducing me to her other mentees so that I could broaden my community on campus. She has helped make my transition into college incredibly smooth for such a big change in my life. That's going to become very familiar for a lot of you as you navigate your first year in college. You may have your roommate and a few other people that you're friends with, but you might have a mentor who helps you to expand that. You might also realize that this is a big change in your life, and you're going to need all the help you can get. And mentors and others who will come to support you, and cheerleaders like me. I usually have pom-poms, but I don't have them today. But others like that, they are there to help you. They're there to encourage you. You see those signs of being confused, unclear, unsure, perplexed, lost. You may be only one of that. You just might be unclear about something, unsure about something. A mentor is there to help you. And so as you're navigating, as you're going through your first year of college, you definitely want to make sure you're connecting in that way. And the reason why is that I want you all to be determined to graduate. I always tell students that it's one thing to be accepted to a university, because I'm a recruiter and that's what I do. But I hit them with the reality after they're admitted that I want to see you graduate. I want to see you complete these 4 years and come out on the other side with a bachelor's degree. But there are statistics, and these are from Inside Higher Ed, that show the reality of those who graduate. White and Asian students completed their programs at similar rates, 62% and 63.2% respectively, while Hispanic and Black students graduated at rates of 45.8% and 38% respectively. And if you look at this chart, it's a 6-year window. And most of the statistics in higher ed are over 6 years, because there are some people who may have to stretch it out. Maybe they decide to go part-time at some point, but that 4 years, you can stretch that rather quickly, 4.5 sometimes for some students, depending on the major. But if you look at the percentage of those that graduate, I wonder if you're surprised. For some, it's less than 50%, less than half. So that means a lot of students come into college, but they don't leave with a degree in at least 4 to 6 years. That's the reality. Now, 62%, 63%, 65% is probably normal, because a lot of people leave college because it's not a good fit for them. That's something else that you have to work out before you get to college. If college is not for you, and it would be better if you choose maybe the military, a trade school, or something like that, then definitely do it. Because you don't want to get into your second year and say, you know what, I really wanted to be a cosmetologist and I should have just gone to cosmetology school. Because maybe down the line, you might decide to get a degree in business to run your salon and make a lot of money doing it. But whatever your heart is, you need to do that. And so don't feel like you need to be forced into going to college because everybody else is going to college. It may not be for you now, or it may not be for you, period. But you want to make sure that you're not wasting your time, and also your money, your parents' money, and you want to make sure that you're committed to something that you're going to finish, because look at the results here. And not all of it is because students didn't have a good fit. A lot of students get to college and they may actually fail out. And it takes a lot to kind of get your nerve up to go back to school. And some don't do that until they're older and they realize the importance and they're ready now to do it. My story is I graduated from a top school in Philadelphia, Philadelphia High School for Girls. I got to give a shout out to Girls High. And I graduated from that school, and everybody goes off to college after that. Well, I was on my way to one college, decided I didn't want to go there. My parents said, you're going somewhere, because I decided in August that I wasn't going to the college. So I ended up going to a community college, and I went there for 1 semester, and believe me, I was ready to go off to college after that. I had matured. So some of us are not mature enough to go to college, but we can get there, because my degree did not say I started off at community college, and that's not a bad thing. I'm actually proud of the fact that I did it. But my degree, after 3.5 years, was a 4-year degree from a university. And so I just want to encourage you, when you look at these numbers, really think about it. Think about how you may be impacted by it. Even though I believe most of you who are on this, this call, you're going to go forth and you're going to complete what you start. You're going to graduate. I love seeing the students as they're graduating. I enjoy seeing them walk across the campus. I love seeing them get on the other side, shake the president of the university's hand, and get that degree. because that's what you're there for. So it's very important to navigate in your first year. So it makes it a little easier in your second year, your third year, and your fourth year. Because if you don't have a good start in your first year, it may be a little shaky as you move forward. I always tell students, if you don't do well academically, it's a lot more difficult to bring up that GPA in those next 3 years. So you want to make sure that you're doing well. You're doing well as you're moving forward. So I have a little video that I want to share with you, and I hope that it's helpful, because I think one of the other words that we really want to think about today, as you're embarking on this journey of going to college, and as you're navigating through your first year as a multicultural student, you're going to need courage. So take a look. I want you to take a look at this video, and hopefully it will encourage you. Let's see.
Some say courage is something you're born with. Others say courage is something you find. In every generation throughout history, courage has been celebrated, sought after, needed. It holds the potential for a life of impact. But what if courage isn't just something you hope for or stumble upon? What if courage is something that can be shaped at a place that inspires you, where leaders invest in you, your community believes in you, and your life becomes something bigger than it could ever be alone?
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And now we're open for questions, if anybody has any questions.
Excellent. Well, Fran, thank you so much. That's a great presentation. I usually say I know everybody's giving you a big round of virtual applause, but this is unique in that I'm already seeing comments giving you applause in the question and answer section. So this is great. Someone anonymously posted, "She has to be the best mentor and presenter I've seen so far. She's so joyful and the type of person we need in colleges." So thank you to whoever it was that posted that, but appreciate that. But yes, now is the time for questions. So just as a reminder, for those of you who haven't done it, we're using the Zoom webinar window, the Q&A button on the toolbar. So click that icon to open that up, and feel free to ask your questions for Fran. We'll try and get to as many as we can here in our time. We will try and combine some, so if we get some of the most commonly asked questions. So at this point, I'll go ahead and start us off with, what is your thought? Is it possible to connect with students in the multicultural groups and clubs before they arrive on campus?
Yes, and I say that because some of the work that you have to do is before you get to campus, right? And this is one of the tasks. I'm just going to give you this task, and that is that you want to work with your admissions counselor to connect with the student who's already there so you can get that student's perspective. And so we have like an overnight, and we have all of our student leaders, multicultural student leaders, and they actually gather around students who come to stay overnight, and they do a panel discussion, they hang out, we do this thing called an after party, and they just get to know them, but they get a chance to hear firsthand what it's like right now, not like, you know, an alum who says, "Oh, I was there 10 years ago." Well, what's happening at this point in time? Until they can give you kind of like that. And then they're really good encouragers as well.
Excellent, excellent. What a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Another question along these lines is, how do I get support for a learning difference or challenge? And this is, I've heard that question in several of the different seminars.
Yeah, it's really important to work on that. Again, prior to arriving on campus, there's usually someone who works with students with disabilities, an advisor, and you can connect with that person because usually they're going to need to see documentation in order to get you the support that you need. And you want to have that support once you hit campus. If you need extra time with tests, it could be something as small as that. But if you also need other resources, we have to make sure we have those things in place for you. So you want to connect with them. And I'm going to tell you that your admissions counselor will have the key to many of these doors that you need to get into. And so share with them, this is what I need. This is who I would like to speak with. And they'll be able to help you. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And so what do I do if my school of interest does not have a multicultural student resources group or department?
Wow. So I usually tell the story about when I first got to Eastern and there wasn't a multicultural student advisor. There wasn't a center, and now there's a lounge. There wasn't a lounge. So what happened was the students eventually asked for it because I was hired as the multicultural recruiter. But I found that there was a need for that. So I kind of straddled the fence a little bit with student affairs and recruitment. So I do the mentoring program and recruit, which is a lot, but I love it. But I encourage the students to ask because you need someone who is going to do that job specifically. And so they were able to do that, and they were able to hire someone first quarter time and then part-time and then full-time. So sometimes you can ask, and the other is to start networking. You can create your own network of support. And so if there are faculty members, and they don't all have to be multicultural or from the same ethnicity, but people who will support you, create your own network until something is in place.
Great. And I've seen this question a couple times. Is there any way to add multiculturalism into your application, and how can it help you in the process?
Well, you can, and ways that you can do that is through your essay, if you have an opportunity to include that in an essay. Some have prompts, so, but if not, you can include it in your essay. You might also include it in a resume. So if I get your application, I see how involved you were, and you were president of the Latinos Unidas group in your college, in your high school, then, you know, it's like, okay, I need to make some connections, because that's what recruiters do. We make connections. We want to connect you with either people, resources, or scholarships. So yes, put that information in your application, either in your essay or in the form of a resume.
Great. You mentioned being an advocate for yourself. Nadia asks, how do you find a mentor?
Yeah.
That's a good, broad question.
Sometimes you can watch people. And I know students have watched me from afar, and they'll say, you know, I want to come to your office because I wanted to talk to you, you know. And so they might see you, and you might see someone, you might say, you know what, that person would be a good mentor. Somehow we connect. It could be somebody in financial aid. You were in financial aid in the first few days, and you just connected with someone. You could ask them, just say, you know what, can I come over and kind of talk with you every now and then? And most of us are going to say yes. I mean, I have a tendency to clear my schedule a lot. When a student just walks in the door, it's like, come on in, you know, doesn't matter what you're doing. So we want to do it. We do. And so I would say ask, find people that you have something in common with, or even ask other students, upperclassmen, you know, who would be a good person for me to talk to because I'm blah, 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 right? And they might be able to help you as well. But you got to put it out there.
You know, put yourself out there.
Put yourself out there.
That's great. All right, so I'm going to read some comments too, and they're not questions, but it's great information. Your passion for this topic shines through, and thank you. And that's from Antoinette.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Akira says, I love your energy.
I'm going to sleep after this.
Again, I'm going to keep going with some of these comments, but we have more questions. So Nikki Mitchell, thank you. I'm a counselor and a parent of a graduating senior who will be an underrepresented student. This was good information.
Great, great, wonderful.
So here's a great question from Melissa. What do you think students struggle with the most when they are first generation?
For some, I would say isolation, because a lot of students think nobody else is where I am. No one else is a first generation student. But if you start to talk to people, you'll find out that there's more than you think. We actually have a first generation workshop, and students come, and first gen students who are navigating through campus, through college, will talk with them. So don't isolate yourself, and don't think that you're the only one that is experiencing this for the first time. And if you need help because you don't have maybe someone at home who has been through the process, just ask, just ask. But yeah, be proud to be a first generation student. It's a wonderful thing because you're charting a path for those who come behind you.
Very good. And so not everybody is necessarily a mentee or looking at this as a mentee. So Melissa asks, do you have any tips for campus mentors?
So that means you want to be a mentor?
That's what it sounds like from that question, I'm assuming.
Okay, we'll take you in the mentoring program that I oversee. We're always mentors. But a mentor should have some experience. So you might, as a freshman, come in with some experience that somebody else doesn't have, and that would be great. But usually, maybe in your sophomore year, you can become a mentor. And so in your freshman year, maybe you're a mentee, so you know what it's like. We want you to create, like a life mission statement together. We want you to do some other things that you will want to work with your mentee on. But just continue to be an example, right? And then try to gain as much experience as you can about mentoring on your own, because most students that I try to recruit say, I don't know how to be a mentor. And it's like, did you go through 1 year at Eastern? Say, yes. Well, you can be a mentor. You have navigated your first year, and you can share that with someone else. So it's not that you have to have so much information. You have to be willing, but willing to share your own experiences as well.
Great.
That answered your question, but.
So a parent asks, how do you support your student in advocating for himself or herself?
Okay, I'm going to say this. If you haven't already, cut the strings.
So no helicopter.
No, you can't be the helicopter parent. But I know most parents are just sincerely concerned about their student. And so I would say listen more than give instruction, and, when you need to, maybe direction, but let them figure out some things for themselves, especially when it comes to self-advocacy with professors and others on campus. Let them be able to express themselves, and then give them enough room to do that. Give them enough room to grow. I think that's important as well. And keep doing whatever you're doing, because they're in college, so you've done a lot so far. Yeah.
Great. A lot of people are asking, how do they get a mentor? And what if someone feels awkward about doing that?
Yeah, you might feel awkward. So we have a couple of different variations of mentoring. We have the one-on-one mentoring opportunities, which a lot of students will get involved in. But then we do group mentoring. And I think that's a lot easier on first-year students, because they don't want to be the only one, like everything targeted at me. But when you have group mentoring, the mentees kind of, they get close. but they're also building a relationship with the mentor at the same time. So we had one mentor who lived off campus, and so he would grab his mentees and they would go over to his house and do movies on the weekend and just talk and just relax. So maybe group mentoring might be a little less intimidating. And then we do cross-cultural mentoring, because if you've not been involved in a relationship, maybe a closer relationship or interaction with someone from a different ethnicity, someone who is a white student, then you might want to do that just so you can get beyond whatever that is, right? So we do cross-cultural mentoring as well. And then we have our, you didn't ask this question, but upperclassmen are mentored by faculty, staff, and administration. So you have that to look forward to as well. So if you're feeling awkward, I always tell students, just go to the event. So we have a kickoff and then we have a finale. And in between, we do all other kinds of fun stuff. But just go. Because when you get there, somebody's probably going to point you out and say, I want you to be my mentee. And then you'll be chosen. You don't have to choose. But yeah, just go. Put yourself out there. Yeah.
And if you don't go, you won't know.
If you don't go, you won't know. That's right.
So I don't know if you mentioned, someone wrote in here, what is a Peabody College? I don't know if that was, if somebody misheard. I don't know what a Peabody or Peabody College. I don't know if they misheard that. So
Peabody College.
I don't know if there's.
Not sure. Predominantly white campuses. Sometimes that's what they're called. Predominantly white campuses. If a student is going, multicultural students attending a predominantly white campus, if this is what you're talking about.
Okay.
Means there's probably in the range of, maybe 20% or less students of color. And so you enter that college knowing that, yes, you have to seek out all of these resources and all of that good stuff in order to kind of have a good experience there. And there's some students, quite frankly, who won't do this, and it's okay. But for those who do, it's a resource well worth seeking out.
Yeah. More people saying, no question. Thank you for this informative session. Very informative.
Wonderful. That's what we wanted to do. Share some nuggets today and hopefully get you to thinking about, choosing the best college, but then also choosing the resources that you're going to need to be successful. Because again, it's not enough to start. We want to finish, all right? So that would be my word of encouragement to all of you. And I just thank you so much for coming to this session today. I have enjoyed it. And we will continue to get the information out, these gems and this advice that I hope is helpful for all students.
Thank you. We do have a little bit more time if you're still available for a few more.
Yeah.
So Laura says, I'm a high school junior. Is now the time to start preparing for college?
Yes, for sure. We have juniors that visit our campus, especially in the summer. They're at the campus right now. They would be all over our campus if it was open. But it's a good time because I think it's good to start to weed things out in your junior year. You might have always said, I want to go to ABC College, and then but I'm still interested in XYZ College. Well, visit both so that you could get a better feel of that school. And then you might have to cross some things off of your list, some colleges off of your list, and because it's no longer realistic, or you're like, why did I think about that in the first? So junior year is a good time to do that. So senior year, you're focused in on the real deal. These are my top 5, and this is what I want to do. I'm going to go for these hard. I'm going to have my safe school. All of that's in place. You don't want to apply to 25 schools, you know what I mean? And you're waiting to get information from them. You could get a little confused. I've heard students come and visit and say, I take notes, but I forget after a while, college that belongs to. Oh, where was that again, Mom? So you don't want to get to the point where it's just overkill and you're just, it's overload. Junior year, yeah, really start narrowing things down. Start asking the hard questions. And you can call admissions counselors. I talk to juniors. I did a Zoom with a junior just the other day and her mom. So that was good. So yeah, now's the time. Get on it.
Great, great. So you just talked about finishing. Someone anonymously asks, can you change your major during college? And what happens if I don't like it?
Two good questions. Yes, you can change your major once you get there. I changed my major twice in college. And I think it's important to do that because, again, sometimes we come in with preconceived notions. Everybody wants to be a doctor. And it's okay until you get through those first few biology classes. And then you decide that you need to change your major, and it's okay. Just do it as soon as possible. I usually encourage students, unless they're majoring in something very detailed like nursing or engineering, don't declare the major until your second semester of your sophomore year. You can take classes all along towards a major, but declare it then because you might shift back and forth, right? For some students that won't work, but for others, no, you don't want to go beyond second semester of sophomore year, but you don't necessarily have to declare that major coming in. But you do want to have an idea that the school has what you want, because if they don't, then you will be leaving because you no longer want to be at a university that doesn't have the major that you want. And I also serve transfer students, and I hear a lot of them, this wasn't at the first school that I attended, so now I'm moving to your school. And that's fine, but we just have to make sure that you're not moving for reasons that you could have taken care of at the first school, because you could lose credits and then it becomes a longer term that you'll have in college. So, yeah.
Interesting that you just mentioned about losing credits when you're saying when transferring.
Yeah.
So the next question I had just pulled up here had commented about, like you had said, that you went to a community college and then into a university. And the question is, did the college look at you differently? Because in another presentation that this person had heard, they said that they were told that it would be harder to get into as a multicultural student.
No, not at all. Not at all. I did go to a historically Black college, so they welcomed me with open arms, but I welcome transfer students with open arms, regardless of who they are, because it's okay that you didn't do well at the first school or you went to a community college. I just want to see you accomplish your goals now. And so I'm a little more intentional with transfers because I don't want them to have to transfer again. And so you just want to make sure that you're clear on your major. You want to make sure that, financially it's a good fit. So you just want to make sure that all those things are lined up if you decide to leave one college for another. Because I've had students who decide they're right at the door of coming into Eastern as a transfer and decide at the last minute, you know what, no, I'm going to stay where I am because I don't want to lose those credits. I don't want to be in school for 4.5 years and I can afford where I am. So you have to look at a lot of different factors and not just bounce from college to college looking for the one that's going to be everything to you, because there's no such college. You want to get the things that you need and make that decision and don't look back.
Great. So it's also been asked about scholarships. What are some of the best minority scholarships?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes they're specific to the university. Like we have an urban student scholarship, which is not just for minorities, but you might actually have universities that have scholarships specifically for African-American students or Latino students or Native American students. And you can find most of these scholarships on the school's website. So you want to go there, that's a good resource. And then look at there's a scholarship clearinghouse called Scolly, S-C-H-O-L-L-Y, S-C-H-O-L-L-Y. And it's an app. And this kid from Drexel, he's the one who developed the app because he got like close to $500,000 in scholarships going off to college. And so he created this app, and you can purchase it. It's like $1.99 or so, and you'll find different scholarships there. You'll probably find a lot for multicultural students there. He's African American. So you want to look at scholarship clearinghouses, talk with your counselors at your high school. They might have scholarships there, but definitely talk with your admissions counselors at the universities where you're looking. That's like one of your first questions. Okay, I got a merit-based scholarship, but are there any scholarships for multicultural students? Yeah.
Good. Here's a tough one. Who should you contact on campus if you hear racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. type comments from another student or even parent?
Yeah, your multicultural student advisor. They're invaluable. They're there for that reason. One, they're good with diffusing situations, because sometimes students want to take matters into their own hands, but it's better to work with administrators at the university, share your concerns, share the incident. They will make and create an incident report for you so that's on record. And unfortunately, we've had at least one situation that I can recall that got really out of hand. And these guys were friends, but what they did was not funny. Right. So unfortunately, it ended up with the student having to be, he had to be dealt with. But you can talk with the multicultural student advisor and make sure that it is hopefully firsthand account, because you don't want to carry something. Joey said, this is what they said, but you don't want to put somebody in a position where maybe it wasn't exactly what they thought it was. But I think sometimes we know what it is. So make sure that you're bringing all of that information in an account. Maybe write some things down that you don't forget. And then just trust that the administrators will handle it, and don't try to take matters into your own hands.
Thank you. When choosing a school, what should multicultural students look for to prevent isolation?
Wow, friends. Definitely connect with, students connect with people from their same hometown sometimes, same ethnicity. Find a group of friends or people that you can hang out with, and try to be conscious of that in your first few days, that everybody is not your friend. And everybody is not going to remain your friend. So if you have to let a friend go after a month or so on campus, let the friend go, because clearly it's not, it's probably not somebody who is going to be a friend to you. Might not be a bad person, but maybe just not a friend. So you'll have to make judgment calls. And so do that as soon as you can, because then you don't want to run into situations, especially if it's a roommate. It's like, oh, this is terrible. I hate this school. Well, no, you hate the situation you're in because you decided to room with a friend from home, and you're friends, but you're not good roommates. So all those things you want to think about. But, find friends, find people, find groups where you have something in common with other people. And then that way you'll at least have, a starting point for maybe a wonderful relationship.
Great, excellent. Well, we have come to the conclusion here of our time. Fran, we thank you so much for your sage wisdom here and sharing that with the group, talking about navigating the first year of college as a multicultural student. We really appreciate that.
Yes.
And for those that joined late, remember that you can come back to the event page to watch this recording. It does take overnight for it to be posted, but it'll be there tomorrow. So please, a lot of great information here. And thank you once again. I will lastly mention to explore your college options in our virtual college fair. We have hundreds of interactive virtual booths where you can watch videos, download materials, and even chat live with admissions representatives from that institution. You'll also find that some booths have a schedule of their own live stream video presentations. So make sure you visit that today or come back while the event is still live to enjoy those experiences. Thank you all and take care. Have a great rest of the day.